Hey there, my name's Niandra, and I've decided to finally make a Valkyrie guide. Mercy was recently buffed to receive 15% more ult charge. Not only was this applied to healing, but damage boost and pistol too. So if you're using damage boost regularly, you should be getting Valkyrie very often. One advice I've been giving a lot recently is to frequently play with right mouse button down, and to have damage boost as the default beam state. Then, tap left mouse button to heal. This is a super easy way to get into damage boosting more. You don't have to do it for the whole match, but I implore you to try it every so often. So when should you activate Valkyrie? With how fast it charges now, and its flexibility, you can almost treat it like a cooldown. Valkyrie can be used in pretty much any team fight that isn't already won or already lost. The more teammates you have playing close together, the more value you'll get from your ult. That being said, Valkyrie can still be decent if your team is split up, as you ping pong between them. Activating it as the enemy team pushes in on defense, or when your team pushes the objective on attack, are the most common opportunities. Even though Valkyrie lasts 15 seconds, timing it well is still very important. As Mercy, you should generally be tracking the positions of your team and the enemy team, which will help you gauge when to use ult. In ranks like Diamond and below, teams sometimes play pretty passively. On my old account, there's been plenty of times on attack where we're standing at a choke point and I'll pop Valkyrie with the intention to initiate the fight, but we just keep sitting there instead of pushing forward, effectively wasting my ult. In situations like this, I either need to call out that I'm about to use Valkyrie and tell my team to push in, or wait until my allies are closer to the enemy and more engaged in combat. You should consider your team's ult management before using Valkyrie if it's not essential. There have been fights where someone on my team uses an ult, I want to use Valk because this is a good opportunity for some juicy mass damage boost, but then another ally uses theirs, so I hold off. At this point, we probably don't need it, 3 ults in one fight would be pretty excessive, and now we have Valkyrie for the next one. Because Valkyrie is so fast charging, you also don't want to hold on to it for long periods of time unless you have reason for saving it. For example, you might say, I'm going to save Valk until the enemy team does X, and X could be whatever, like a specific enemy ult that hasn't been used in a while. Using Valkyrie upon hearing Riptire is okay, but keep in mind it can run up walls. If you're flying upwards to avoid it, you need to be cautious of surrounding terrain. You might save or use Valkyrie for enemy Dragonblade. Keep in mind, Genji could have his dash ready before he ults. Upon ulting, Genji gets his dash reset, then reset again upon any further kills. So, if you are using Valkyrie to dodge Dragonblade, you really need to watch out, track the dashes, and have fly paths ready, because he can often get to you if you're just floating around in the sky. Basically, the goal is time Guardian Angel with his dash. In Overwatch, if you hold down the key for an ability that is not ready yet, it'll activate immediately when available. So, if you're in a fight and at 97-98% ult charge, it can be worth playing with Q held down for that immediate usage. You know, I felt pretty smart after learning this, but it can backfire if you hold it too early. For starters, it can be a little uncomfortable to play with Q held down, and Overwatch is such a fast-paced game, like, things can change very quickly. At 97%, it looks like we're winning the fight. At 99, ah shit, 3 people got booped off by Pharah. If you do find you've wasted Valkyrie, try to damage boost as much as possible. Allies get more ult charge when boosted because of higher damage output, and then at least someone's benefited from the ult. Damage boost is what I really want to talk about because, in my opinion, it's the most powerful part of Valkyrie and what I try to use the most. You'll need to use your own judgment when in game, but I want everyone to know that you don't always need all allies fully healed to damage boost. The more you are already winning a fight, the more lenient you can be with damaged allies. There's also a few other factors to weigh in when using damage boost with injured teammates. 1. Who's our second healer? If it's Ana or Moira, especially the latter, you may have trust in them to cover healing. 2. By how many people are we outnumbering the enemy? And 3. What characters are the enemy team running and how much burst damage is there? These last 2 points often go hand in hand. If you have 4 allies on the point of Elios, the enemy has 2, let's say Lucio and Hammond, and you've got heal modes on because Winston's down 100 HP, you may end up feeling a little underwhelmed with your Valkyrie. When the enemy team is trying to stall an objective your team is just about to cap, like the Ender King's Row attack for example, I try to fully commit to damage boost unless someone absolutely needs healing. Minimizing time to kill is just so important when the enemy team is on their last leg and funneling out of spawn one at a time. There is another reason why damage boost is very valuable. If your team has definitely won the fight and someone's missing health, try to wait until your ult is finished to start healing again. You can easily get an immediate 5 to 25% ult charge seconds after finishing your last one, which is fucking good shit. The second support might steal this healing, and if they don't have ult, that's great, you've helped them build towards it. For maximum value of Valkyrie, you want a good sense of judgment and confidence in juggling the two beam modes. Please consider trying the right mouse button as default beam state thing I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Okay, so let's talk about healing. I never have much to say about it. If you feel allies need healing, do it. If you need to pop Valkyrie solely for healing, that's fine. I tend to do this when both tanks are heavily injured and our second support is an off healer. Also, remember that Valkyrie has a cast time? If you're healing someone and press Q, your beam will very briefly break from that target as the animation plays. Take this into consideration when your target is extremely low because they can easily die during the beam break off. Alternatively, there is the pistol. For me personally, the easiest targets are 1. Widow, who is often pretty stationary while looking down her scope and very easy to sneak up on. Her assault rifle isn't that great, especially with Valk's constant health regen, but be careful of those really close-up sneaky headshots. And 2. Pharah, especially if the enemy team is running Ana or Moira, who may not be able to heal her too easily. Since there is infinite ammo without reload and a faster firing speed, you don't need super god tier aiming to get value from the pistol. There are a few aiming techniques I like to use, such as getting above the person and shooting downwards, which you'll often be already positioned for. This is especially good if you're dueling Pharah in the sky, by the way. Learning to predict enemy movement can also be useful. Here, Niandra runs in a predictable line, and I mirror that. With Mercy in general, I do really like the pistol, but damage boost is better to me because it allows allies to get ult quicker. There's also some things you need to be cautious with. Just like you would when using the pistol outside of Valkyrie, you need to consider the swap time between gun and beam. If an ally is especially low, they could easily die in that time. Attacking an enemy with the pistol may mean your camera view is positioned in a way where your team is not visible, which can be a problem because how do you save a dying ally you didn't know was dying? You need to be able to gauge immediately, within a second or two, if you're actually going to be able to kill the enemy or if teammates can follow up. If the enemy you're shooting is being healed by a main healer, unless the target is critical or you're nailing headshots, you might just end up feeding. Since Mercy doesn't gain ult charge herself while in Valkyrie, each pistol shot should have meaning behind it. There has been a bunch of times when enemy Mercy goes after an ally I'm healing and it's like, buddy, what is this doing? I've also had Valking enemy Mercy go after me, and in those cases I just want to stay alive and waste her time. Your gun may be good for enemies in areas that other allies may not easily be able to reach. For example, a low health enemy is hiding behind their allies, but you get an angle from flying upwards. Bizarrely, and it's really easy to overlook, but Mercy can see the health bars of damaged enemies while in Valkyrie. Mercy is one of the best heroes to shot call with, and if that's a playstyle you are comfortable with, this could help out as you let allies know who to focus. Alternatively, you could use it to find pistol targets. Let me show you a clip from an ults account stream. I see enemy Mercy almost dead, but I know her health regen kicks in after 1 second of not taking damage. By the time my teammates react to my call out and position for it, she'll probably be full again, therefore it's best I go for it. Valkyrie is kinda like a Swiss Army knife and has a few smaller benefits. Mercy has faster movement speed while ulting, but it's also not super fast, so be cautious about flying out in the open. I personally like to GA to someone, press space, repeat, which allows me to be pretty slippery. There is one thing you need to be careful of though. Mercy can lose/cancel her own res if she manually leaves the 5-meter range, and stupidly, Valkyrie makes this easier to do because of the extra mobility. If you fly to a corpse, res, then press space, which you might do out of habit because you've been spamming it to avoid enemies, you can easily shoot out of range. Valkyrie also extends the length of Mercy's Guardian Angel from 30 meters to 60. Because of this, you may use Valkyrie as a tool to get back in the fight quicker or from spawn. This may feel like a waste, and it definitely can be, but could also be beneficial in modes like King of the Hill or Control Points, or just generally when a fight still looks winnable after your death. Valkyrie lasting a total of 15 seconds is what makes this a viable play. You can get back with a good 7 to 10 seconds left of beam chaining. Longer beam length may also enable you to go for a res that's far away from the rest of your team. This is fine, just ask yourself, can your team afford you leaving the fight for 2 to 3 seconds? Another benefit is constant health regeneration that is immediately activated upon entering Valkyrie. Outside of it, Mercy needs to not take any damage for 1 second for it to kick in. There have been a few times, more so since Ashe's release, where I've hit Q just for this, but if I wait until I'm just about to die, chances are it isn't saving me, so try to keep track of your own health during fights you intend to ult in. I think we've all had a shitty Valk where we die like a second into it. The constant health regeneration is one of my favourite parts, but I honestly don't have much to say about it, just know it's there and probably doing some work. Combined together, the last three things mentioned can make a really good safety net if you misplay. If Guardian Angel is on cooldown and you use Valkyrie, it will immediately be available again. 2 seconds may feel very short, but if you're out of position in a ball of enemies, it can feel like an eternity. Having Valkyrie ready has also definitely allowed me to pull off a dangerous res and escape afterwards. Being able to fly away quicker while healing yourself can be a pretty solid get out of jail free card in many situations. I personally enjoy playing a very aggressive Mercy and try to damage boost friendly Genji through his Dragon Blade when possible outside of my ult, but sometimes he ends up in a ball of enemies. Damage boosted Valkyrie combos very well with Dragon Blade because these small benefits give more control over your positioning. If you can, give the combo a try sometime, it can be pretty good. As Valkyrie comes to an end, be cautious of your position. When the ult is over, you don't want to be stranded behind enemy lines or in the middle of everyone. Guardian Angel length will also go back to 30 meters, and that might mean your escape route is no longer available. Anyway, that's all from me this week. I randomly lost access to YouTube monetization and can't do a title card anymore, so have some garbage. Thank you so much for watching, I'll see you next time.